Oh, ribeye steak, medium rare, mineral water, Perrier, Bisto gravy from London, soty potatoes, wild mushrooms with tarragon and butter, fresh asparagus with orange. Oh, look at that.
And Annie piggy.
And Annie's feeling ill, but she's off. There we go.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why.
On the rib section, around the back here, from the spine down, it's in the centre there, underneath that rib. They take it out, no bone. Has some nice marbling. Doesn't have any backstrap fat on it or anything like that. And nice eye meat. I bought 4 of those for 820 peso. And then today's Thursday, so I've left them resting in the fridge. I took 2 out today. I seasoned them, salt and pepper each side, put them in a tray, and then just let them to warm. Just leave them to warm at room temperature. You don't want to be cooking meat that's come straight out of the fridge. The fat's hard, the meat's cold, it takes all the heat away from the pan. So we'll come back to that. In another pot I had some nice American potatoes, really big. I cooked 3 of those, and I 3/4 cooked those for about 18 minutes in salted water. Took them out, sliced them fairly thick, and left them in a bowl. Put a little bit of salt and pepper on them. Just leave those potatoes to one side. I'm going to come back to that. Then I bought some asparagus. Now the asparagus in America or the UK, it's like my finger. It's nice and thick, it's nice and juicy. You don't use the hard part that grows in the ground. You take about 2 inches off the bottom, trim it up to the floret head part of it, and that's what you actually use. Here in the Philippines, it's more like a cocktail stick. It's very thin. You get about 25 in a bundle. So I took 2 inches off the bottom, remember? Took 2 inches off the bottom, threw that away, cut the asparagus in half, cooked that in the potato water. Yeah, I added a little bit more salt to the potato water, dropped in the asparagus, and I cooked the asparagus. And then once it was cooked, after about 8 minutes, I took it out, put it into an iced plunge bath, just stop that cooking going on, put it in a bowl, put some seasoning, put some butter on the top of it, and then left it. Mosquitoes are out, they're coming to get me, so that was the asparagus. Now the mistake I made is I bought mixed mushrooms. Now the mixed mushrooms were enoki, shiitake, button, there was a large wood mushroom, there was a field mushroom, but I didn't see the shiitake. Now shiitake has a really pungent aroma, and that flavoured all the other mushrooms. So although I cooked the mushrooms without the shiitake, they still absorbed that flavour. Remember, mushrooms are 98% water, and that fibrous texture that you like. When I fried it up, it wasn't really good. Big mistake by mine. But what I turned around and did is I put the mushrooms there with some fresh tarragon. Mushrooms and tarragon go really well together with a bit of butter. So then I turned around and, as I said, I put the pan on. In the pan, I put a little bit of oil, 2 teaspoons, and 1 ounce of butter. Okay, 28 grams, unsalted. Goes in the pan. In goes the sliced potatoes, and I'm going to turn around and saute those flat potatoes, golden brown each side, a little bit darker for me because I like them to be crunchy. And they're sauteed potatoes. I cooked those, I dried them off on some kitchen paper, put them into a bowl, put them on the table next to my white and green plate with my knife and fork. Then I turned around and took the mushrooms, I put the mushrooms into the pan. Remember, the mushrooms have got this shiitake mushroom flavour, so I cooked them in there with the oil and the butter, tossed them over, gave them a little bit of colour, gave them a little, softened them up. But that tarragon couldn't take away that shiitake mushroom flavour. So they were edible, but they weren't as good as they could have been. But they were nice. So I took those out of the pan, put them to one side. Then I turned around and I took the steaks. I dry rubbed the steak with some salt and some black pepper, both sides. Then I turned around and dried the pan with a tea towel to get rid of the oil, or what do they call it? Tissue, kitchen towel. Dried up the oil, got rid of that. So left the pan for about 2 or 3 minutes until you could actually feel there was a haze sitting on it. Put the 2 steaks in it and cooked them very, very quickly, about 2 to 3 minutes each side. Let that pan turn around and start melting that butter. Start melting the butter, the fat that's within the steak. Seal it, get it that lovely bit of caramelisation. Cut a knob of butter, 1 ounce for each steak, so 2 ounces in total. Drop that in the pan, and then the butter was foaming. I was fanning it over the top of the steak. I was spooning it over the top of the steaks as they were cooking. I then took the steaks out of the pan once the foaming had stopped in the butter. Put them on the plate, leave them to relax, let them relax. Then I turned around and got tissue paper, dried out the oil that was in the pan, put in the asparagus, put a little bit of butter, toss that over, put that into another bowl. So that's the soja potatoes are done, the mushrooms with tarragon are done, the asparagus is done with the butter. Then I turned around and made some bisto gravy. So that was boiled a kettle, powdered mix, but I like bisto gravy, just to turn around, not too much, it's just half a cupful like that, just to turn around and help with your vegetables and turn around and give you that little bit of sauciness to your steak. But I want to taste the steak. So steak was there, relaxed. After 2 to 3 minutes, put the food out, sat down, took some pictures of it. So par cooked the potatoes, sliced them, put in a little bit of oil and butter, and you have sauté potatoes. Oh, look at that. And we have the asparagus and a bit of orange butter, lovely. We have the enoki mushrooms and shiitake, a little bit of tarragon in there, fresh tarragon. We're going to cook them in a minute. And then we have the ribeye steaks. These have been out about 2 hours now, getting warm, seasoned, a little bit of oil. When we finish doing that cooking, doing the mushrooms, we're going to cook that, cook the steaks in the pan. And here we have bisto gravy. Bisto. So I'm doing all this little cooking in this part of my kitchen. There we go, it's all on there. I've only got a small kitchen area, so today I cooked the ribeye steaks, and he liked it. It was very, very nice. Steak for me, it was good. Yeah, it's not the best ribeye steak I've ever had, but it's a really close 3rd or 4th here in the Philippines. Yeah, what you've got to understand is steak in the Philippines is very, very difficult to come by. But I paid 800 pesos for it the other day, and that gave me 4 steaks, which is 200 pesos each, which might seem a lot, but it's a one-off. It's coming into Christmas. The asparagus turned around and cost me 235. The potatoes cost me 55. The bisto gravy I bought from London. The enoki, shiitake, field mushrooms and wild mushrooms, they turned around and cost me 365. Big mistake. I won't be buying those again, and that's just because they got shiitake in the mix, and shiitake just overpowers all the other mushrooms. The tarragon was 105 for a little 20 gram pack of fresh. That was fresh. That was very, very nice, and that was aromatic. So watch the vlog, watch the pictures after this of Annie eating her food. And go. Hello, baboy. How are you?
Yummy, yummy.
Yummy, yummy. There's lunch. Annie's never had a ribeye steak. She's had a tomahawk over at Omerta, but she never had a ribeye. So I cooked her the ribeye today. I'm just waiting for my butter to melt over my steak. Enjoy, guys. I'm cooking in this little area here our 2-course meal. Look at that. Is it nice, darling? She's hungry.
Never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.